Good morning, Keto fam. Guess what we're making today? We are making the birria for the birria tacos. Right here I have a rack of beef ribs that I am going to incorporate into this birria. I have on my stove a pot of water. I want to boil these for about 10 minutes to get some of the impurities out before I add them to my crock pot. So I'm going to go ahead and get these cut and into the water. These are going to add a great flavor to this because, well, it's bones, and bones always add a great flavor. These are just beef tacos. Yeah, I guess I got tacos on the brain. Beef ribs, and I'll probably cut them. I'm just going to cut them into twos like this, and we're going to go ahead and get them boiling. And let's see. Yeah, that's good. There is some meat on this, so some of the meat will come into the beer. So we'll go ahead and get them boiling. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and cut this tiny. I like Instacart. It's great for those of us who can't just get to the grocery store. Great, but when you pick out this little teeny tiny chuck roast, you kind of have to improvise with other things. I have some of these beef strips that I had in my freezer that I got from Costco a while back. I'm going to also add into it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these into pieces that I will be searing off in my cast iron skillet. So just regular pieces like this, you want to cut it into. I want to get a nice sear on the outside of this beef before I add it to my crock pot. So I'm going to go ahead and add everything into this bowl, and when I get ready to sear all this, see, these are just straight beef strips. I'm going to salt and pepper these pieces of meat, and then I'm going to sear them off in my pan. You're going to want a nice fatty piece of beef. All right, let's get these. And once this gets boiling, you guys, I'm going to show you some of the impurities that's going to come off the bones. You kind of want to do it. So you're going to want to go ahead and boil them bones for about 10 minutes just to get some of the impurities out of, like the blood and some of the impurities that's in the meat out of it. In my crock pot right now, I have about 4 cups of water, and I already have the crock pot turned on high so I can get the water warmed up for that. I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper the meat right now. Get my little stove here, get my pan on there, and start searing the meat. Okay, so I got my pan starting to heat up. I use peanut oil because it has a high smoke point. I guess you could use avocado oil, but I prefer peanut oil, so we'll go ahead and get you down here. I have already salt and peppered the meat. So we're just going to go ahead and get some of the pieces seared off. And it's going to make a splattering mess, so just be aware of that. The impurities coming to the top on the bones there. Just going to let it boil probably, slow boil. Just a slow boil for probably 5 or 6 more minutes. Ooh, that's popping. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and drain the ribs. Now you can see all the stuff on the top. We're just going to go ahead and strain them out. We're going to save this pot to make the sauce. And we're going to spray off and rinse them. As we're rinsing them, I'm just going to go ahead and set them right in my crock pot, which is setting right off to the side here. All this really does is just kind of eliminate trying to skim the top once it starts boiling. As you guys can see, we're starting to get a nice sear. You want to do all sides. It is a process, guys. It is a process. All right, we are searing now. Here's all the meat in my crock pot. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a good scoop of some of this Better Than Bouillon beef bouillon, and just a nice big old scoop, and I'm going to just kind of incorporate it in there. Probably should have did this before I put the meat in, but you know, whatever. It'll disperse. And let me just say, this meat, you guys, oh my gosh. It's so good. It's already tender. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going to take another little small scoop here, and I'm going to spritz it around over here. Then I'm going to take some of my minced garlic, and I'm just going to kind of spread it around in there. You guys can season this to the way you want. Now, I have a regular yellow onion here that I'm going to dice. It's just a half of one. I'm just going to dice it up and incorporate it in here. The white onion I'm going to put in the sauce, which we'll be making next. Okay, guys. Excuse me. Here's the half of the onion. I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle it in with the meat. Okay, now, all right, now what we're going to do, well, first off, let's go ahead and cover. I'm going to let this meat cook for a little bit. Push that off to the side. Okay, in the meantime, you guys are going to want some guajillo chilies. The dried guajillo chilies. I'm going to do three decently sized ones. Some people will toast these. I actually just don't want to go through all that. But you're going to want to pull the stems off and de-seed them as much as possible. And these are going to go in a pot of water. What happened? Okay. You're fine? Just de-seed as much as you possibly can. They came out pretty easy, actually. What, Boo-Boo? And you're also going to want some of the red chilies like I used in the salsa, and I'm just going to use a handful. You don't have to de-seed these. Go ahead and turn that on. And with the white onion, we're going to go ahead and throw the whole onion in there. Actually, I think I'm just going to cut it in half. And throw the whole thing in there with that. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to boil this just like we did for the salsa and allow the chilies to rehydrate. So sorry guys, you also are going to need one cinnamon stick. It's pretty small, not that long, maybe about the length of my finger. And also 4 whole cloves, or just a pinch of cinnamon and a pinch of ground clove if that's what you have. So we're going to go ahead and boil this out real quick. Okay guys, you got to bear with me. I missed a couple of other steps in this. Also, I had added some bay leaves. I've added 4 bay leaves in there, and I've boiled this for about 20 minutes, and I'm going to let it set and cool before I put it into my blender. Also, if you don't have, I did say if you didn't have the whole clove or the whole cinnamon stick, to add a pinch of each, do that when you get ready to blend it. Not in the water, because we're not going to use all this water. Okay guys, so while I'm waiting for the peppers and things to cool, I'm going to go ahead and add some other things to the crock pot. Can you say hi? You say hi? Okay, so I'm going to add some other things to my crock pot, and you're going to need, let's see, the oregano, and I have the Mediterranean oregano. It says 1 teaspoon, but that doesn't seem like very, no, 2 teaspoons of the oregano into the crock pot. So let's go ahead and sprinkle that in. Okay. Also, you're going to need some thyme. Everybody needs thyme, right? And this only calls for 1 teaspoon. So we're going to do 1 teaspoon.
Hello. Hi.
Are you saying hello?
Hello.
Hello? Guys, I had a comment on my video from the other day, and I took a screenshot of it, and I'll go ahead and post it up here. Yeah, it kind of pissed me off a little bit. You know, move on. There are so many trolls out there. All right, let's see. I did the onion. All right, so I want to kind of squish this around a little bit in there. What are you doing? Huh? What is it? Okay. All right, we're going to let this, cover this back up. I'm going to let that finish cooling, and we are going to blend the badunum out of that. All right, guys, let's get this stuff blended. Here we go. All right. Go ahead and start scooping everything out. I don't think I'll leave the bay leaves in there. Let me see if I can set the cinnamon stick. Yep. Let's get everything in the blender. And this time I'm going to learn from my mistakes and not put so much liquid. That's a cinnamon stick right there. We are going to save the liquid though, because we will likely need it. Maybe I'll leave 1 bay leaf in there to blend. All right, a lot of that is the cinnamon stick, so. Also gonna need about a tablespoon of the chicken bouillon. And I can't find my tablespoon, so I'm just gonna do just a small sprinkle for now. And you're also gonna need some chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. I'm out of there. Some of that liquid out of there and swash it around in the sauce here. All right, let's blend. That smells amazing. Let's add some water to it to loosen it up a little. Uh-oh, what? What are you talking about? That smells amazing. It blended really well. Let me taste. Woo-hoo-hoo, that is hot. Some people will strain this. You guys see my house? This is a disaster. That's what you get when you have a toddler in the house. Okay, some people will strain that. I'm not going to strain it because that blended that pretty good. That's some spicy stuff. All right, this is what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and add it to the meat. You guys. All right, I'm going to add some of the liquid to slosh this around to make sure I get everything out of there. All right. Slosh that around. Make sure I get it out. And then we're going to go ahead and add the rest of that right to the meat. Now, at this point, we're just going to let the meat cook. Oh, yum. Gonna let it cook down for several hours, guys. Several hours. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. I can't wait. So before I put the lid on, let me get this nice and good and incorporated, and then I'm gonna taste the broth. It will get richer the longer it cooks, but I want to taste it for saltiness right now. That is really good. Okay, it is now just 20 minutes after 11. I'll come back in a few hours and show you guys what this looks like. Pretty excited. Hey there, everybody. We're about an hour and a half in, and it's starting to smell really good in here. I'm going to give this a quick stir. I think I'm going to end this video here, do an assembling in a different video. So we probably got about another 2 hours, 2.5 hours to go on this. All the fat that's rendering on the top here, I will be skimming off. We're going to be using that to fry the tacos. So, okay guys, stay tuned for the assembling of the tacos, or even just the consomme. Alright guys, like I told you before, this is an all-day process, and I really don't want this video to go too long. So if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe, you guys. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not new, welcome back guys, and I'll see you in the next video.